Hello, welcome. Today I want to continue talking about the Beatitudes and about the Sermon on the Mount. In the Beatitudes, and I'm using the beautiful translation from the Khabouris manuscript, an ancient manuscript which was written in Aramaic, the language that Jesus spoke. And in the Khabouris manuscript, the Beatitudes, where Jesus said, "Blessed are they," it's translated, "A heavenly attitude is theirs." A heavenly attitude. Okay. Now, let us look. You see, in the Garden of Eden, Adam was ambitious. He had a weakness. He had a character flaw which might have remained unfound out if there hadn't been temptation. So it was found out because of temptation. Adam had a weakness. He didn't love God. He loved himself more than he loved God. And he didn't love Eve either, because if he had loved Eve, then he wouldn't have done the wrong thing, because he would have sensed that it might bring wrong upon her. And he liked being wooed. And through Eve, it wasn't her fault, but through Eve, through a beguiled Eve, the serpent approached and found the weakness and brought it out. And that weakness then became ambition. Because the serpent talked about knowledge, about education. So Adam became ambitious for education, for knowledge, which a lot of people are today too. And people today think that education, not that I'm against education, a proper education. See, not that I'm against knowledge, but it has to have understanding with it. Understanding. Without understanding, that's what Adam fell to. He didn't want understanding. He didn't want to be close to God. See, he had everything. He was close to God. He had God's approval. He had God's love. And he could have lived forever, perpetually renewed by God. But instead, Adam was ambitious. He was ambitious for education, and he wanted to be like a God. That's what, see, the serpent told him through Eve, that he could be like God. So that's what Adam wanted. He didn't want to serve God. He wanted to be God. He didn't love God. He wanted to be God. And so he ate the forbidden food, and you know the rest of the story. He changed for the worse. He lost eternal life, and instead he inherited animal life. See, animals have a life where they eat and drink, and they have to reproduce before their body dies. And then the offspring perpetuate the species. Well, that's what Adam fell to. So now he had to work by the sweat of his brow, and he had to eat, and he had to drink, and he had to reproduce to maintain the species, because his self was going to die. See? So it's a lowly animal existence. But that's what he was given in exchange for what he had once had, which was eternal life in paradise. So Adam was ambitious. And he no longer had, see, and the other thing is, when he defected from the good kingdom, see, he was like a traitor. He defected from the good kingdom, and he went over to the bad side. See, to the wrong side, to the other side, which he liked the ideas the other side was giving him. But when he did, he became subject to that other side, to that other kingdom, to another way of life, which led to death. So now he was subject. Before he had been free, now he was no longer free. Now he was subject. Okay? It's like going from the United States to some awful communist country. It's like going from the United States to North Korea. Okay? 1 minute you're free, And then for some reason, a person defects over to that side, and then they're no longer free. See? Well, Adam's mind was no longer free either. Now his mind and his body. I'm writing a chapter in my book, my new book. I'm writing a chapter about this. And I can't cover in this video in the depth that I cover it in the book. I'll just touch upon it lightly. See, when you look at the animal kingdom, at all of nature, there's no freedom. Atoms are not free to do whatever they want. They have to obey the laws of physics, the laws of chemistry, the laws of mathematics. Plants and animals. A plant can only be what it's supposed to be and do what it's supposed to do. It doesn't have choice. An animal has, a bear or a raccoon, they have to do what it is their nature to do, what their instinct is to do, what the environment requires of them. They do not have freedom. Okay? Well, Adam fell from freedom to compulsivity. He fell into the order where there is no freedom. So every wrong that he did thereafter, and we, his progeny, see, we're just like him. We inherit the fallen existence. We inherit the subjectivity to the bad kingdom and to nature, to the laws of physics and biology and chemistry and mathematics. Our bodies are subject. Okay? But you see, when Adam sinned, he changed. Okay? And every time you sin, every time you do wrong, see, every time you ignore what you know in your heart, ignore your conscience, and you do something wrong for selfish reasons, then you change. That wrong action then seeds subjectivity, compulsivity, and impulse. See, the sin translates into the flesh. And then in the flesh, then, now you have an impulse to do wrong. See? So no sooner do you do something wrong than up come impulses. And the first impulse that you usually sense is the sexual one. Because that was the first thing that Adam noticed when he fell. He noticed he was naked, remember? And then he was embarrassed by it. Before it didn't mean anything when he was innocent, but now he noticed that. And undoubtedly he noticed the sexual feelings. Okay? Because that's the life that leads to death. See, the sexuality and death are intimately associated because of death, the animal has to reproduce. And when times are tough and the animal senses that things might be going south for him, then he has an urge to reproduce, built in, to reproduce, to create offspring, to perpetuate the species. That's his highest good for the animal, okay? But for we humans, that's what we fell to. So that's the first thing Adam noticed, that now he has to reproduce. He has an urge to reproduce. See, before his body dies. Okay? So now you see how wrong seeds impulses in us and compulsivity. And after that, you don't have any choice. After you sin, have you noticed? If you do something wrong, you go against your parents' wishes and take drugs or something rather, then after that you're not free. You change, and you're not free anymore. See? Well, okay. So now you see that. So what was Adam then? He was ambitious. Okay. So ambition became seated in the flesh, and as what? As for example, lust. Lust is a physical form of ambition, to want something, to desire something, especially something wrong or something forbidden. That's what Adam he longed for, the forbidden fruit, so he could be like a god. Well, then it translated into the flesh, and then Adam lusted. See? He knew lust. And also, hatred, violence. See, hatred is is the opposite, is the other side of the coin of lust. Okay, when you have an ambition to do something, you want to do something bad to someone. You hate someone. You want to see them hurt. You want to see them fall. You want to see them put down. See, so those are bad thoughts, and they lead to bad deeds. And so what you need is objectivity. You need, which you see, Adam, once Adam fell, it was all over for him. He suffered. If you read the lost books of the Bible, it's a beautiful story of Adam and how he was sorry, but it was too late for him. But you see, we who live now because of Christ and because of what Christ did, we can actually, through God, we can't do it ourselves. Do you see that you're totally compulsive? Oh, and I wanted to also mention, I said that the body falls to compulsivity. Perhaps you could track with me on that. But now see that Adam's mind was no longer free either, because he had now become subject to the bad kingdom. See, the bad kingdom. And the bad kingdom to which Adam became subject, see, was there with more of these ideas, see, more of these suggestions, these taunts, these temptations, see, either as seductive, the idea of doing wrong to someone or to get something that you want, or on the other hand, the pressure to do wrong. See, either way, there it is with ideas in the mind, images, thoughts. Where do those thoughts come from? Well, your mind is not free. See, if you were free, let's say if you had bad thoughts, if you were free, you could stop them at will. You could stop them anytime you want. See, they're not subject to you. See, and you're not in control of them. So what you need is God's help. You need the light, God's light, to first of all to give you objectivity, so you can see in the light. You can stand back, and then see in the light what's something not quite right about those ideas. See, and then just let them pass. See, you don't want to struggle with them. You don't want to indulge them. You don't want to give in to them. But you don't want to struggle with them either, because either way, if you struggle with them, you give them energy. You just want to watch them from the neutral zone, in the light. Watch them. See, then they can't harm you. See, and they'll go away. They'll leave you alone. And then you need God's help. You need the light to do something about those actions that you have seeded and in your biological being, and render you compulsive. See, you need help with that. God can help you with that. See, He can change your nature. That's what you need. You need a changed nature. Now you have a mind that's subject to dark forces. You have a body pockmarked by stress, subject to the environment, subject to the outside. Okay. And you've, up until now, you've had a soul that is not committed to what's right, but has been selfish and has had the wrong idea, the wrong attitude about things. See, people give you the wrong attitude. They say, be selfish, go for the gusto. Everybody else is doing it. Take advantage. Nobody will know anyway. Nobody cares. See, who cares about principles? You get yours. See, get even, get revenge, show them, prove something. See, wrong ideas. Plus, they say, well, what does it matter anyway? We're just evolved apes. We're just evolving apes. What's the point? See, all those ideas, and you believe them. past. Now, so now you need the light so you can see what's wrong with those ideas. See? You just see that there's something wrong with them. You don't even have to see what's wrong with them. You will eventually. You'll see all the details about what's wrong with them. But in the beginning, you don't need to see what's wrong with them. All you need to do is just to see that there's something not quite right about them, and then just let them pass. Don't struggle with them. Don't try to argue with them. Just let them pass. Okay? And then for those changes that have occurred with you, you need God's help to change you back to a proper, to natural state. See, you've fallen from being a natural ego when you remember when you were relatively innocent when you were a young person, and then you became corrupted by gossip and marijuana and culture and people and ideas and wrong things that you've done, all kinds of stuff. You've been corrupted. Even corrupted by trivia. Your mind is filled with trivia. You've been totally corrupted. Externalized and corrupted. So now you need to return to a natural state. And then the light can then transform you from the natural back to a state, something like Adam had before the fall. But this time even better. Even better. Okay? Even better. So, I hope you've enjoyed this little discussion. Oh, I want to read this to you. So now this will make sense to you, based on what I just have been telling you. This is the, let me find it here, Matthew chapter 5, the Sermon on the Mount from the Caboris manuscript. Now you will understand this. Remember I said we have a captive mind? And your mind has to be changed back. See, from a corrupt attitude, from a hellish attitude, from a wrong attitude, from a prideful, selfish, self-serving, light-avoiding attitude, to a heavenly attitude. Remember Christ talked about a heavenly attitude, which you will have that from God, okay, by way of meditating properly and by way of wanting it, see, and yearning for truth, and yearning for good, and yearning for innocence, and a willingness to see your own wrongs. Then you'll have this heavenly attitude. But now listen to this. He said, "You have heard that it was said to those preceding us, 'Kill not.' And everyone who shall kill causes a trial for condemnation. But as to this I say to you, whoever shall hold a mindset of malice against another causes a trial for condemnation. And whoever shall speak of another contemptuously causes a trial before the congregation. And whoever shall speak of another as an object of disgust causes a trial before the Gehenna of fire." And now you see that as long as one has those kinds of thoughts, okay, you're not subject to the good king. So you want to be subject to the good king.